Reports reaching us reveals that Halima Shehu, the national coordinator of the National Social Investment Trust Fund, has allegedly confessed to removing 44 billion naira from government account in 5 days. Says it was in error. 9.8 billion naira has reportedly been recovered by AFCC so far. Remember, Halima Shehu and Betty Edu, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, are involved in several allegations of looting public funds in the tune of billions. Beta Edu has been accused of withdrawing 3 billion naira within 3 months, while this recent and new revelation tells us that Halima Shehu withdrew over 40 billion within 5 days. She was appointed just last year. She's not up to a year in that position. Within 5 days, being able to move 44 billion naira from the federal account to a private account without the approval of the president shows that this woman is a legend. How can you remove 44 billion naira from the government account in 5 days and claim it was a mistake? Well, people are saying that this Halima Shehu is a thief, and they are saying kudos to the EFCC. Also, let's not forget that Beta Edu has so many questions to answer. The 3 billion naira that has been moved from the federal account to a private account. Somebody says Beta Edu is the best minister in this government. She's the only minister who goes down to the masses and do her work. Halima, who is a 44 billion naira thief, wants to bring her down. So this government will have no active young person reaching out. Let's arise and say no. I don't know which one I will believe now. Are we defending Beta Edu and kneeling Halima Shehu? Although 44 billion naira is a lot of money, but 3 billion naira at least, stealing is stealing, or corruption is corruption. It is also on record that in the history of Nigeria, no woman minister or no woman in charge of any position has embezzled 44 billion naira or has moved 44 billion naira into a private account. That Halima Shehu has broken the record of that corrupt politician and government worker, government officer that have done such. People are looking at these two accusations of Halima Shehu and Beta Edu. It seems we're having two camps. Some defending Beta Edu, while others are saying that the accusation on Halima is trying to bring a distraction. They're trying to distract people from the fact that Beta Edu has been accused of embezzling 3 billion naira. Omotayo Williams says the federal government regulatory states that personal money shall in no circumstance be paid into a private bank account. If this is done, it is done with a fraudulent intention. More than half a billion was paid into the account of Onielu Bridget Mujisola, an unknown woman. This was approved by Beta Edu. Why is she receiving more than half a billion in a private bank account? This incoming at a time where Beta Edu has been accused of misappropriating 3 billion naira in a month. Beta Edu must step aside for activities in her ministry to be investigated. Now, I think this other comment is in a way trying to defend the minister. Somebody say the document in circulation has full approval and followed due process. The event have already been held in Kogi, Calabar, Cross River, some other places, and some yet to be launched. Please let's separate the issues and deal with them uniquely. Dr. Beta Edu has provided evidence that she got clearance and approval from all necessary authorities, and the funds were sent to a designated federal government project accountant of the said program. That's GVG. We may not agree with the way the porous spending guidelines allow the release of such huge amounts to civil servant accountants. In any case, but that's the law and how it works within the civil service. Wow, that is interesting. That is the law and how it works within the civil service, from a federal government account to a private account. Let's move on. Halima didn't get clearance for the money she spent. For 4 billion removed from federal government account without approval from the president within 5 days. My brother, let's fear God. Why is there an agenda to merge both cases? This is my issue. We see a problem. How do we fix it? instead of a smear campaign. Imagine the ministry is using millions for vulnerable people in a state, but Halima Shehu is stealing 44 billion naira meant for end power and all Nigerians. In reaction to that, somebody says, "What part of this don't you understand? The federal government regulatory states that personal money shall in no circumstance be paid into a private bank account. If this is done, it is done in a fraudulent manner or with an intention to defraud the government." So these are two people with two different opinions. But my opinion is, let's call a spade a spade. If somebody is guilty, that person should be said to be guilty. Let's not try and bring up some kind of conspiracy theory so as to shield some persons from being investigated. Better Edu should step down and let investigation go on in our ministry, while Halima Shehu should be prosecuted. That is my take. With this issue of corruption, allegation of corruption, more groups are coming out in support of Halima Shehu. And guess what? It is a group in the north. They call them NECA. Yes, NECA, you heard me right. NECA is advocating for justice and fairness in the case of Halima Shehu, the suspended national coordinator and chief executive officer of the National Social Investment Program Agency. It said it found it necessary to add its voice to the calls for a review of the process that led to Sheu's suspension as subsequent investigation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission over missing 37 billion naira from the coffers of the agency. The group also advised the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to be meticulous in the investigation. Yes, they accused Beta Edu of also having to siphon funds, and the president should also look into that. Lastly, they say the Northeast Consultative Forum stands with Halima Shehu and seeks a just and fair resolution to this matter. We believe that everyone has the right to a fair hearing and that judgment should be based on evidence and due process, not on political maneuvering or personal vendettas. NECA urges all parties involved to focus on the facts and to act with integrity, transparency, and accountability. NECA also calls on fellow citizens and civil society organizations to continue advocating for justice and fairness in this case. It is crucial that the voices of the people are heard and that our leaders are reminded of their responsibility to uphold the principles of democracy. More groups in support. We need to hit the nail on the head. There is an allegation of corruption, and let's focus on that. Although we need to do that with all sense of fairness and meticulous investigation without any bias. That is what we need to do at this point in time. No favoritism, no preferential treatment. Now the North is standing up for its own. Better Edu is from, I think, Calabar, and I believe there should be a group also that should rise up from Calabar and defend Better Edu, asking that the president should be so meticulous and also let him be fair in the judgment, that there will be no personal vendettas. This is how we run Nigeria. This is the politics in Nigeria. People are really willing to stick their heads out to defend somebody who really, we all know as Nigerians that these ministers, they steal from the Nigerian people. We know that these people are well hell bent on stealing, but still we are finding a way to do due diligence to the whole matter. Let the two of them resign and be prosecuted. That is what Nigerians are asking. Many people on Twitter and other social media platforms are asking for Better Edu to resign, and also Halima Shehu will be prosecuted and put behind bars. Let them face the full wrath of the law. Then we will now know that this regime is really interested in fighting corruption.